Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Photoshop. In this tutorial, we'll see how to create these neon text effects that you can see in here using Adobe Photoshop. And if you want to know how to animate it like this, check out the next tutorial. But before we're gonna do that, make sure to subscribe and comment and leave a like. Alright, so let's get to it. Okay, so first let's check the assets that we'll be using. So we'll be using this image in here that you can see. It's an interior image of a house or a restaurant that it has this brick wall. So this is where we're gonna use to put our neon text. I will make sure to put this image in the link from the description below. And also we're gonna use this Tilt Neon font that is free. You'll find a link for this one too. So once you're done with it, you can just open the zip file using whatever extractor that you have. You can just double click on it, and here you're gonna find the TTF format. You can just double click on it and choose install. And I already did it, so I'm just gonna jump back to Photoshop. Alright, now we're gonna go to File, New, and we're gonna create a new document using a simple 720p resolution. So I already have it in the clipboard in here. So it's like 1220 pixels for the width, 720 pixels for the height. I will keep the resolution set to 72, RGB and the color mode 8-bit, and I will press OK. Alright, so let's go back to our folder and open the image in here. Alright, now we're gonna make the image bigger. I don't want to use this side, so I'm just gonna make it bigger just like that, and from here too, and I will put it down just right here. Let me see, maybe I will, yeah, something like that. I think it looks good. Alright, and I will one click on this check mark, and then I will right click on this image and choose rasterize layer, and let's rename it to BG for background. Alright, and let's delete this background. Alright, next we're gonna actually darken this image a little bit for our glow to show more. So to do that, we're gonna use some adjustment layers. So let's go to this adjustment icon in here and choose hue and saturation first. And let's drop down the saturation to like -30, or just to give it a little bit of desaturated feel. Alright, like that. And then I will go back to adjustment again, and this time I will go for brightness and contrast. And in the brightness in here I would put like -100 in the brightness. Let's keep it 99, and the contrast I won't touch it. So I'm gonna use another adjustment. So I will use an exposure, and let's put down the exposure quite a bit to give it this night feel. Yeah, something like that, -1.5 or something. It depends on your likeness, I guess. Yeah, let's not play with the offsets in here. Let's keep it 0. Alright, I think this will work for now. So we have everything set to our neon. Maybe we're gonna go back and add more adjustments if we want. Alright, now it's time for us to use our font. So let's hit T for the type in here. I already have this, the font is here loaded. It's called Tilt Neon. So after you install it, you can just search for it and it will appear in here. Alright, so I will one click and let's type just neon. And I want this to be white, so I'm going to change the color to white, and I will one click on this check mark. Alright, I think the size is fine. Yeah, I think I will just keep it somewhere in here. Maybe I will put it a little bit to the right and put it a little bit up. Alright, I think this is okay. Now we're gonna actually make like some strips, metal strips, or what looks like a metal strips behind this neon text. So we're gonna only use like 2 of them. So to do this, we're gonna actually use this rectangular or rectangle tool that we have in here, the rounded one, and we're gonna create a very long rectangle like this with a 7 pixel height and whatever width you want. It depends on your word. So I will keep it like this. Maybe I will add like 8 pixels, just like that. And for the color, I will use like a dark gray color, something like that, and I will press OK. I also have the stroke in here deactivated by clicking on this in here, and now we have the rounded set to 4 pixel, 444. So because it's a very small round, it will be like a half circle in here. Alright, now we want to duplicate this and put it down in here, but I want to duplicate it using the same shape that we have, because I don't want to use 2 shapes. So to do that, we're gonna switch to the direct selection tool, or actually this one in here, the black one, and by pressing Alt or Option, as you can see, a plus sign will show up while I'm hovering on the shape in here. So while I'm pressing Alt or Option, I will one click and drag, and this will create a copy. But when I drag, click with the Alt or Option, Shift, and this will unlock it to not move, just like that. So somewhere in here I think it will be good. And now we have these 2 strips in here that is in the same shape. Alright, but I think I want to put this a little bit down, somewhere more like that, I think, or maybe a little bit up. Yeah, I think a little bit up, it's also okay. Alright, I think it's good, but I want to center it according to the neon text that we have in here. And to do that, you can just select neon text and then press Ctrl or Command and one click to load the selection of the text itself, and then press V to switch to your move tool on top in here, and as you can see, this alignment option will show up. So we're gonna use this middle one in here, the second one, and this will make it like a line, but we need to make sure that we are clicking on the rounded rectangle shape, and one click on this one and this will align it just in the center, just like that. And then I'm gonna press Ctrl Command D to deselect. Alright, let's call this metal strips, and then let's put it behind or under the neon text, and this will make it behind the neon in the image. Alright, so we have our strips. Now we need to create a wire that goes from here and goes like this and disappear maybe to a connector in here to the electricity. Alright, to do that we're gonna use the pen tool. So let's press P for the pen tool, and let's create a new layer and let's call it wire 1. Alright, and then let's create a path. Actually, make sure that in here it's set to a path, and then let's make one point and drag like that, and let's make another point and drag just like that. And then by pressing Ctrl Command, you can actually choose where you want to put this point that you just created, and also it will allow you to control these handles in here that you can see. And if you press Shift, you can control them without moving. It will go on the line like that. So we want it to be like this, and then again I'm gonna press Shift and one click like that, and this will create this perfect line in here. Alright, so we have our first wire. Now we're gonna actually stroke this path, but before we're gonna do that, we're gonna go to the brushes and make sure to open the brush and make sure that the opacity and the flow set to 100% for both of them, and then right click on the brush, or you can just open the brushes from here and make sure the hardness set to 100% too. Alright, and for the size I will use this 4 pixels because of the resolution of the image. I think 4 pixels is good enough for the wire. Alright, now we'll go back to the pen tool, and then I will right click while I'm have this path selected. I will right click and choose stroke path, and this will show up, make sure that the tool in here is set to brush, and also make sure that simulate brush is not on. If you have it on, just uncheck it and press OK. Yeah, but I think I want to change the color to match the same color that we have in here. So let's press Ctrl Command Z to undo, and then let's change the color to like a grayish color. Yeah, something like that. And then right click and again stroke path and OK, and this will make it gray. And then you can just press the escape key and it will disappear the path in here. Alright, now we need to create another layer on top of this one and call it wire 2. Alright, and then we're gonna actually connect these together. I mean, they can be connected using the same metal strips, but why not? Let's create some wires too. That would be like this. Alright, so let's start from here. So let's create one point like that and drag, and then let's create another point in here and let's make it just like this, like it's hanging in here. Alright, like that, and then I'm gonna press Ctrl Command and one click, and this will make it deactivated. And let's do the same with this one. I'm gonna one click and drag, and one click and drag in here, and then using Ctrl Command we can just adjust these handles just like that to make it like hang just like this, and then press Ctrl Command and one click outside of the path. Now we have these two paths in the same layer, and we're gonna use the same one in here, so let's keep it with the same line. So let's do like this and like this. Of course you can choose whatever placement of your wires, but for this tutorial I think it looks okay. Alright, again I'm gonna press Ctrl Command and one click outside, and this will make these three paths together. Now I can just right click and choose stroke path and press OK, and now we have this path, three of them in one layer. And then I'm gonna press on the escape key in here, and there we go, we have our wires in here. Alright, now everything is set for our neon. So let's start with the neon text. So let's go and select the neon text, and then let's go to this FX icon and choose the blending options, because we're gonna use layer styles for this. And let's actually zoom on the image a little bit to see what we are doing. Maybe not that much. Alright, something like that. I think I'm happy with this. Alright, so now in this layer style, let me actually go and reset everything to the default list, and then for us to add a glow we can always use the outer glow to add a glow, but the problem with this is we need more than one outer glow. So this is why we're gonna use the drop shadow instead of using the outer glow, because the drop shadow, it has this plus icon, which means that we can add like more, like 8 of them if we want. Alright, but outer glow, it doesn't allow us to do that. But let's actually start with the outer glow. Let's keep the blending mode, let's keep it to screen, and let's put like 80% in here, and let's change the color to a red color. Yeah, why not? Let's keep it red. Gonna always we can always change the colors in the end. Alright, so let's keep it in this red in here and press OK, and then let's change the size to like this, and the spread to like something like this. Let's put a little bit more of the size. Yeah, so let's do it like that. And actually let's change the range a little bit, put it a little bit like to 100%, because we don't want it to be that much. Now we're gonna play with the size. And alright, so let's start with the outer glow like that, and let's actually put the opacity to 100%, and let's put down the spread a little bit and the size just like this. Okay, but keep in mind these numbers in here, it's depend on the resolution of your image. So you can the trick for this, you can just look at your your text or whatever, and while you are working, see what's best look in the canvas. Alright, next we're gonna add more glow, so we're gonna activate this drop shadow. As you can see, the drop shadow is like this, it's making like a shadow. But for us, we're gonna use it as let's actually use it like as a drop shadow first. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to use it like a drop shadow. So let's actually change the color to a dark gray color, something like that. And let's keep the blending mode set to multiply and put the opacity to like 50%. And for the size, let's actually make it like 10 or 6, and the distance, let's put it a little bit down, and let's keep the angle just like that for now. Alright, let's just for it to have a little bit of shadow and put down the opacity quite a bit. Alright, now we have a shadow actually in here. Alright, now we're gonna actually make another drop shadow by one click on this plus icon, and this time we're gonna use this drop shadow as a glow. So to do that, we're gonna first change the blending mode to screen. I mean, you can use screen or lighting or vivid lights, actually also sometimes it work, but for this one we're gonna stick with the screen because I think it will look better in the screen. And let's change the color to the match color of the red, and let's press OK and put back the opacity to like 70% or 80%. Yeah, like that. And then we're gonna play with let's actually put 0% in the distance and play with the spread. And as you can see, while I'm playing with the spread, you can see all of this. This will allow us to make the drop shadow act like a glow, which is really nice. So let me just add more size and a little bit less spread, something like that for this, and put down the opacity to like 60%. Alright, let's add another drop shadow. This time let's put the size a little bit and add more spread to the whole thing, just like that, and maybe put down the opacity quite a bit. And let's add another drop shadow, and let's put more of the size to give it that glow, and put down the spread just like that, and put down the opacity too. Yeah, I think it looks good for now, but I think I will add another drop shadow just to add more spread in here and less size, and put down the opacity to like 50%. Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's looking good. Okay, next we're gonna add a color overlay to make the colors a little bit red. So let's actually change it to this light pink or light red in here like that, and press OK. And then we're gonna add an inner glow for our last effect. And as you can see, I already have the setting from the last PSD I made. So basically we're gonna use the same blending mode as a screen, and the color we're gonna use a almost white color like that, and press OK, and I will keep the opacity 100. And the only thing that you might need to change is the source. Make sure that it's set to the center, and then you can play with the stroke and the size in here. As you can see, I put more size just like this to make it like in the center, and also the stroke, it will make it more smaller, and this will give it this 3D look of we have like a neon light inside the letter. So let's keep it like that. I think it looks nice, but I think I will go back to the color overlay, and I want to make the color a little bit dark or a little bit red to match the whole thing. Yeah, something like that. I think it looks good, and I will press OK. And let's actually check this drop shadow that we add in the beginning if it's good or no. I think it's looking good, but Maybe I would change the color to a dark red color. Yeah, something like that. I think it's much better. And put down the opacity to like 20% or 25. Yeah, I think it's much better. And I will press OK. Alright, so we have our neon in here. I mean, it doesn't look that much for now, but we're gonna add some other effects in here. Alright, now we're gonna start working on these strips in here, and the wires too. So let's hide this, and also let's start with the metal strips for now. Okay, so let's go again to these blending options in here, and let's zoom in a little bit. Now for this we're gonna use the bevel and emboss. As you can see, we have, let me just see, yeah, we have inner bevel in here with the smooth technique, but for the depth it's depend on your resolution, so you might need to experiment with this. But for this I will keep it 115, and the size I will keep it 4. And actually I have everything set from the last PSD, so I would keep everything in here set the same. The direction is up, size 4, softener 0, and I have in here use global lights is unchecked, which is very important. And for the highlights mode I keep it white, but I change the blending mode to overlay, and the shadow mode I keep it black with 100% opacity, as you can see, to give it this shadow in here. And if I put it like this, it will be no shadow. Alright, next we're gonna add actually an inner shadow for us to have these colors in here. So in the inner shadow in here I have the color set to this red color too, to match the light of the neon. And the size, actually I need to put it like 3 or 4, and put the distance to like 8. And the opacity I have it very low because I don't want it to be that much. Maybe I will put it like 40 or 30%, just like that. Well, it's depend on the color that you have. Alright, and I will press OK. So I have everything in here like this. And the last thing that I will add is a drop shadow. I have this drop shadow in here, that's why we added like a shadow. And I will change the color to the sample color from the wall, and let's put it a little bit black or a little bit dark. And then I will keep the blending mode set to multiply, and the opacity I will put it like 50%. And the distance, I think I will put like less distance, like 6 pixels. And the size I will keep it 6 too. But the distance, I think I want it to be a little bit just like that. I think it looks good, and I will press OK. And as you can see, now we have this in here, but as you can see in the inner shadow, the angle is not right because we have this red in here that I don't like. So let's go back to the inner shadow of this metal strip, and let's adjust the angle in here. It's very annoying, this angle. And let's check the other part. So 45% angle in here is the best for this, so I will keep it like that, and I will press OK. Alright, so we have everything in here is good. Now we're gonna only copy and paste the same FX settings to the other wire 1 and 2. So let's press Alt or Option and one click on this FX icon and take it, and this will make a copy of it and put it in here. And as you can see, now we have the same things applied in here. Alright, so let's do the same thing for this wire too. I'm gonna press Alt or Option and take this FX and make a copy and put it in here. And now we have the same in here applied. But we're gonna make some change for this wire 1. This is why we put it alone, because I don't want it to have the light all the way in here. So let's go to the inner shadow, and let's make sure that use global lights is unchecked, because if use global lights is checked, if I make some changes, it will make the changes to the other ones too. Alright, so let me make sure that I'm actually selecting the wire 1 in here, and I will open the inner shadow for this. Alright, and then I will change the angle using my cursor, something like that. I think I think something like this one. Or you know what, I think I will uncheck inner shadow for this one, and the is okay. Let's just delete it. And what we can do is to actually paint a little bit of light using a layer and the brush. So let's create a new layer, and let's call this light, and let's clip it to the wire 1. So by pressing Alt or Option, I will one click, and this will clip it in here between them. And then let's hit B for the brush, and let's make it a little bit bigger with 0% hardness and like 50% opacity, 50% flow. And let's choose a red color, and let's change the blending mode to screen, and let's add some light to have it apply for the lights in here, just like that. Maybe to go like this. Alright, I think it looks much better for now. Alright, so now we have everything set. Now we're gonna do some cleanup, because I want this to be behind this plant stick that we have, and also I want this to be behind this wood closet or something. Alright, to do that, we're gonna actually group all these wires and metal strips together, because we apply layer size on them, and if we create a layer mask while the layer size in here, it will make them look very weird. So, and for us to avoid that, we create a group, and then we can work with the layer mask to whatever we want. Alright, so let's select the metal strip and the wire 2 by pressing Shift. You can select them, all of them, and then I'm gonna press Ctrl Command G, and this will group them. And let's call this connectors, and then we're gonna apply a layer mask, and using black as our foreground color with 100% opacity, 100% flow. We can start deleting from here. As you can see now, we don't have that problem anymore. It's behind, and also we're gonna delete a little bit for this, and go back and make it visible in this part and in this part, just like that. It's a little bit more. Alright, I think it looks good. Alright, now we have everything set. Now it's time for us to add some lights and some things to have everything looks better. But I don't like this. I think this is too much. So let's open this group, and let's check these lights and put down the opacity of this a little bit to like 70%, just like that. Alright, now I want to actually darken the background even more. But first, for me to do that, I will press Q, the Q key in the keyboard, and this will allow me to enter the selection mode, which means that I can actually paint with my brush, and then when I press Q again, wherever I paint, it will be a selection. So I want this part to be like a vignette, but I want to paint it. So let's start from here, and let's go just like that, and let's go in here. I mean, the advantage of using brush to make a selection is we can actually play with the opacity of the brush, and then we can add like a very soft selection in this area, for example, just like that, and this would make the selection softer. And then if we don't like a place that we just selected, you can just press X to switch between black and white, and this will allow you to delete from the selection. It's like that, and I think now it looks good. Alright, so let's keep it like this. Now if I press Q again, as you can see, now we have this part as a selection, but I want to affect actually the outside of this. So I'm gonna press Ctrl Shift or Command Shift I to invert the selection, and then I will go to adjustment and choose curves. Then I will darken this line like a vignette by making one point in here and drag down to make it like a little bit darker, as you can see. Now it starts looking like a neon effect in here. Alright, something like that. Alright, something like that. I think it looks nice. Alright, next I want actually to make this a little bit brighter inside this time. So to do that, we're gonna actually duplicate this curve by pressing Ctrl Command J, and then while I'm selecting the layer mask of the second curve that I have, I will actually press Ctrl or Command I to invert it like that, and then I will open the curve in here, and I will delete all these points in here that I have, and I will make it a little bit brighter, just like this, and a little bit more of the contrast, just like that. Alright, so I will go back to the other curve, and then I'm gonna press Ctrl Command J again, and actually I like the way that it was more dark, so I will make a copy of it, and then I will put down the opacity to like 50% or 40% to give it more that dramatic in here. Let's see, maybe 20%, yeah, like that. Alright, next I want to actually make this red light reflect in some parts in here. So the easiest way to do that is to actually make a solid color with the same red color that we have, maybe like this, and then I will change the blending mode of this to linear dodge add, and then I will go back to the FX icon and I will choose blending options, but this time I'm gonna use the blend F. So in the underlying layer I will press Alt or Option, and in this slider in here, while I'm pressing Alt or Option, I can split this just like that to affect only some places. There is like this, and I will press OK. Alright, now of course we're not gonna leave it like this. We're just gonna select the layer mask and then press Ctrl Command I to make it black, and now we're gonna paint to where we want this light to appear. So let's actually start in this area in here. Maybe we'll make the flow even less, and let's paint a little bit all in these bright areas that we have in here. Just to have some reflection of these items that we have, maybe on the shelf. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller. Let's paint all in here, just like that, and make the flow even less, and let's paint a little bit. So give it this dramatic effect of the light. All right. I have a very less flow and less opacity. That's the key. Maybe not behind these plants. Maybe a little bit in here. We'll delete a little bit, and maybe we'll add a little bit more in here. Alright, I think this is enough. And you can always go and put down the opacity of the whole layer if you want, but I think this is looking good. Alright, so we're almost done now. The only thing that I want to add a little bit of that realistic grain effect to the whole thing is we're gonna create a grain texture. So to do that, we're gonna create a new layer on top, and let's call this grain. And then I'm gonna press Shift F5 on my keyboard, just like that, and this will open the fill. You can just go to edit and choose fill 2 in here, but it's better to have it with the shortcut. And in the contents, choose 50% gray, normal, opacity 100%, and press OK. Alright, now we have the 50% gray layer. Now we're gonna go to filter and choose noise, add noise. And let's keep the distribution set to uniform. Let's see, maybe not that much, maybe like 12%. And I will, actually I'm not gonna make the monochromatic on, because I like that color that it will give to the whole image with the colors that we have from the neon. So I will keep it like that, but I think it's a little bit harsh. Now we're gonna go to filter and choose blur, Gaussian blur, and we will blur it a little bit, not that much, maybe to 1 pixel or even less, like 0.7, just like that, and press OK. Now we're gonna change the blending mode to overlay or soft light. Let's see. Yeah, let's go back to overlay and see. Yeah, let's keep it overlay and put down the opacity to like 70%. Alright, so we have our neon. Now it's time for us to change the colors. Alright, now to change the colors is very easy. You can just go and create an adjustment layer, a hue saturation adjustment layer, and not to press colorize. You can just change the blending mode of this to color, and then change it to whatever color you want. As you can see now, if you want this blue, this really nice blue neon, you can just keep it like that, and this will have this neon blue in here, as you can see, with all the reflections in here and everything. And this will be all. Alright, so I hope that you enjoy and you like this tutorial and it was a little bit helpful for you. If you want to see how I animate this, check me out on the next tutorial. But first, don't forget to subscribe and comment and leave a like. Alright, so thank you for watching.